Hi guys, so today we are here to see about one more case of complex transaction where earlier we saw the earlier imported goods will be exported for certain repairs at the vendor end or supplier end, and it will be re-exported by the vendor. So all those cases we saw earlier, but here we are exporting. So here you can see India is here and USA is in this side, and we have exported our goods or our products on 1st March 2018, and the products had some fault, and maybe there will be some communication through email between the vendor and vendor who is the India and the customer who is at the USA. So and finally they have come to an agreement that yes, you please send the goods to us and we will repair the goods and we will resend to you. Okay, so the goods are imported to India from the customer on 15th March 2018, and then the repair has taken place at India, and we have re-exported the goods on 1st April 2018. Okay, so here I think our book has little bit confused on what is the terms and condition related to this transaction. So I have done a small research on Google and I have come out that these points are all required to keep in mind about this complex transaction. Okay, so here the goods are exported, and because of repair it is being sent from the customer which is in US to India back. So we are re-importing it, and then we are re-exporting the repaired goods back to USA. So what are the terms and conditions related to this? The re-import of the for the repairs, okay, should be done within 3 years. Okay, and the same re-import, there is 7 years time for certain goods. So what are those goods? So here there is a confusion in your book. The clarity is not given here. So here you can see a link which I have mentioned here. You can see this link. In this link is having an annexure of certain goods, and for all those goods it will be 7 years, and other than that for all other goods it will be 3 years. Okay, so the notification here is very clear. Okay, you can watch this link, which is also a CBIC authorized link only, so you can take that into consideration. So here it is very clearly given. In that link, if you go, you can see the list of goods, and all those goods you can see those are 7 years. It can be re-imported for repair, because these are all the list of goods where they are giving concession up to 7 years, because the fault may be happen even more than 3 years but less than 7 years. So the customers are little bit safe on those goods, and for other goods it will be 3 years. And for Nepal and Bhutan, in our book it is giving only Nepal, but the latest act I just browsed in Google, and it gives Bhutan also. Okay, so for the repairs it can be sent out from the customer to India, which means re-import can happen up to 10 years. Okay, so here is where we need to just see Google as and when time permits, so that we can upgrade our knowledge also. Okay, so next, if you see re-import here, till here first 3 points we saw about re-import for the repair purposes, but here the re-import is for the reprocessing, refining and remaking, which means the value addition is considerably more. Repairs may be maximum of 5 to 10% of the cost of the item. Okay, but if it is reprocessing or refining or remaking it, so it will be at least 30 to 40% of the value of the good, which is high value. So for this kind of stuff they have given 1 year period only. So the re-import for this kind of processes need to happen within 1 year. Okay, so the item has come back to India, so we are doing the repairs and we are doing the reprocess or refining or remaking, and after that we have to re-export it to our customer, and 6 months time frame is given for re-export, and it can be extended to up to 12 months based on approval of specified officer or proper officer. Okay, so that is about the re-export. So exported goods re-imported for certain repairs or remaking or reprocessing and then re-exported. Okay, now all these imported goods, we have allowed them without payment of duty, and these goods has to be exported back. So we have to execute a bond that you are not paying a duty, so we will re-export it back. So all these goods which are not paid duty but it reaches the domestic tariff area, okay, should be exported back. So that's why we are executing a bond. Okay, so these goods are called bonded goods. Okay, and this cannot be taken out for any other purposes from the factory. So only it can be taken out after the repair is completed. It can be taken out only to the customer only, and then only the executed bond will satisfy the requirement, and you have to satisfy all the requirements of the bond. Okay, and there should not be any change in ownership. So change in ownership means the sale transaction has happened, a different customer or different supplier is going to send the goods, which means they are liable to duty. So no change in ownership. This we saw in earlier cases also. There should not be any change in ownership. So the next is we are seeing some certain circumstances. So all these pictures which you can see here are taken from our book only. Okay, and these sections are a little bit interesting. Okay, and we need to have a good knowledge about this section also, because there may be some 2 marks question and a cluster of 2 marks question forming a part of a big question. At that time these kind of knowledge or sections will be very useful. And here we are going to see a very important section, which is section 13. So section 13 is for the pilfered goods. Pilfered means the goods has been stolen or theft, so kind of stuff. So here after unloading, so after unloading from the vessel or a flight and before the customs clearance, so sole responsibility lies with the customs only. Okay, so before customs clearance, but it has been unloaded from the vessel or the aircraft. Okay, so here only this kind of thing is covered by section 13, purely on pilferage. Okay, the burden of proving the pilferage is not with the importer. This is very important point. Okay, and no duty need to be paid. So the invoice will contain, for example, 13 numbers of item. Okay, and the goods actually come to clearance itself is lesser than that. So the importer is not responsible for this, and no duty is on the shortage item or the pilfered item. Okay, and also the supplier from the outstation confirms that he has sent the full quantity as per the invoice, and he has a relevant evidence for that. So at that time there is no duty, and this no proof of this proving this is not lying with the importer. And here you can also see that certain samples are consumed. So maybe there is a some anomaly with certain goods, and the assessing officer is opening the goods and testing it, and while testing some of the part of the goods, some or the fully it is consumed or destroyed during testing of the assessing officer. Even at that time, for that portion which is not which is destroyed or which is consumed, for that portion you need not pay the duty. Okay, so at that time the duty will not be for the full value of the invoice. Okay, full value, it will be the CIF value which we saw earlier. So there will be an invoice value, and we will be some add some insurance and freight to it, and the CIF value, that is for the full invoice, and it will be proportionately cut for the items that is destroyed during the testing of the assessing officer, and only for the balance CIF value the customs duty will be paid. Okay, and all goods, that is derelict, jetsam, flotsam and wreck. So these are all a customs terms, and that's why I brought in the pictures here. Derelict is nothing but the goods that this image, goods that are left in the sea. Okay, and those are called as derelict because of the ship, I think it has gone into the seas, and the goods are lying there, and that is considered as import into India. So that is derelict. Okay, and next is jetsam. So this is jetsam. During the high seas, when the ship is not so feeling balanced and it looks like it is overloaded, at that time they may put some parcels or containers into the sea. Okay, so at that, this is called jetsam. And what is flotsam? The same way they put into the sea certain goods, but they float on the sea surface, and they may also come to the shore. And here you see some bananas that has come to the shore, so these is called as flotsam. And next is the wreck. Wreck is given here, the shipwreck, that we all know that the ship has fallen to the high waves. Okay, so these are all pictorially depicted here, and all this are considered as import. But one common sense question, guys: why should these be considered as import? One sense is, if you see, the container or shipping line may try to overload, and because of doing that overload, all these items all these issues would have happened. Okay, there should be a controlling mechanism for that also. It should not be overloaded, and although they will be technically certified by the technical department of the shipping line, but however, these kind of stuff should be there. At the same time, a container offload, just think, guys, if comes to somebody's hand, and they may sell it at the low cost, and this will also affect the domestic industry, and so that's why it is considered as import. Okay, so next we are going to see about abatement, which is in section 22. Abatement is nothing but reducing your duty liability because certain part of the goods has been damaged, or it has been stolen, or the four cases: derelict, jetsam, flotsam, wreck, which we saw earlier. So for all these stuffs, we are reducing the original duty liability, and that reduction is called abatement. Okay, so when this abatement is possible, when it is damaged during unloading, but damaged after unloading, but before the assessment officer is going to assess you, and there should not be any willful act. Willful act will not qualify for abatement. Okay, and to warehoused goods damaged in warehoused goods due to accident before home clearance. So the goods are cleared for warehousing, and before clearance to home consumption, it is at the responsibility of customs at the warehouse, but due to some accident or the other, the warehoused goods are damaged, so that is also allowable for the abatement. So what is abatement, guys? The amount of so after abatement, what will be the duty chargeable? This is the original duty chargeable as per the invoice value. So invoice value will be a FOB basis from the foreign country for this shipment, because we are talking about the import, and once it is available at the foreign port, then either through the shipping line or through the aircraft, it is brought to India. So there will be an insurance for this transportation, and there will be a freight charge, and adding that to the FOB value, that becomes FOB plus insurance plus freight, that becomes the CIF value. So this is a duty on the CIF value. So duty of goods, so nothing but the duty on the CIF value based duty, and minus this is the value of damage. So what is the value of damage divided by the value of full goods? So the percentage of damage is brought in here. Percentage of damage multiply the duty of the goods. So this is coming by the same duty portion you are bringing here. Okay, so this percentage of damage is reduced here, and that is the abatement. And after abatement, this is the duty chargeable after abatement. Okay, and our next topic will be the valuation. So damaged goods need to be valuated, then only we can come across what will be the abatement, and what will be the duty abatement that can be given, and what is the duty chargeable. For all those things, the valuation is very much necessary. So here there is one important concept and interesting too, and the value should be ascertained by proper officer, that makes sense, or the sale value of such goods. For example, the customer or supplier does not want that goods, okay, and customs is going to dispose it by the public auction or some tender. Okay, what is the sale value? And that is considered the value of the goods, and the duty on that portion will be treated as the abatement, and that will be the reduction given to you on your customs duty liability. Okay, and next we are coming to this section 23, which is remission of duty, which means giving back or repaying the duty from the customs to the importer. Okay, so here there are certain terms and conditions. No pilferage we saw earlier, that is governed by section 13. Here we are in section 23, so no pilferage should have happened. If pilferage, section 13, which means there is also no duty liability will come to you. Okay, here remission of duty, no pilferage should happen because we are in section 23. And burden of proof is on the importer that the goods has been lost or destroyed. This burden of proof is with the importer. Okay, but we saw in section 13 in pilferage, the burden of proof is not with the importer. Okay, and the leakage, what is considered as loss or destruction? So here, as per this section, covers any leakage, fire, flood, earthquake, bad weather, anything due to this should be covered in this. Okay, so just remember guys, as a CMA you will be a part of a manufacturing organization mostly. Okay, and just you are just part of importing goods. Just think your manufacturing organization will have a supply chain guys, and all those supply chain guys will try to pull the shipments like anything, because the whole production process should not stop. So even when there is they will not be aware about this section 23 which is there in the customs act, so they will be pulling this shipment, and after reaching our factory it may be found as affected by a bad weather, or it is totally wet, or those items are not usable. Just think the value of goods will be on so much thousands and millions of dollars, and all those shipment will go in a vain, and you cannot, it's not qualified part, you cannot charge back that to your supplier also. Just think of that situation, and hence you need to have all evidences. Your custom house client should take the picture of the goods before he is loading into the truck after customs clearance, and even while you are unloading in your warehouse you should take a picture of the goods whenever it is found to have some packaging damage. Even a small packaging damage, you should not touch the goods guys. And you, only as a CMA, only you guys are aware about this section 23 in the customs act, and you need to talk to your customs client, your customs agent, and you need to get the remission of this duty. So just think about how crucial your role will be, because there will be thousands of shipment coming on every month or every week, and you need to have these sections in mind, so you add the real value to your organization. Okay, so the next one is the relinquishment of title. This is also one of the interesting concept. Okay, so if the as a customer I am getting the imported goods from an overseas vendor, and the goods are not according to my specification, or it is damaged during voyage, so it is not useful for me at all, and there is a breach of contract, which means the outside vendor has overseas vendor has not complied with some contractual agreement. Okay, that's why the importer is unwilling to take the delivery. Okay, in those cases they are not required to pay the duty amount if they relinquish the title. Relinquishment of the title is nothing but I am saying that no, I am not owning this good, it's not responsible for me, but it is addressed to me, but I am relinquishing my title on the goods. Okay, so the customs can do whatever he wants to do, which makes sense. Okay, so there should not be any offense related to the goods. If it is any offense is related, you cannot relinquish your title. Okay, before passing the order of clearance for home consumption or warehousing. So this relinquishment of title can happen before clearance for home consumption or clearance for warehouse. So if this clearance has happened, you cannot relinquish your title. Those are your goods, you need to protect that. So before that you can do so. But one out of curiosity, guys, so what customs will do with this item? They may auction this, they may give this in tender, it may be useful to anybody, so it may sell it, or okay, so customs can take whatever action based on the direction of the appropriate officer.